to episode 1 of
Episode 1.
the coaching hour. The coach's hour.
Numero uno. That's a great start. So we've got the name locked definitely now. Coach's hour. Yeah.
There we go. And today's episode, we're going to be speaking to you guys about why do summer drop-offs happen and our experiences of the summer drop-offs, right? So what are your experiences with it, Joey?
Yeah, well, I think it's important to point out that we're recording this, what's the date? August the 14th?
Yeah.
14th of August. So we're right in the middle of summer drop-off season. Yeah. And for me as a personal trainer, it's going to sound really weird, but I didn't experience that many drop-offs in the summer. But I think we'll get onto it as well as to reasons why. But I think how you frame what you do as a coach dictates how you go across the rest of your year. So like, we'll say January. If you approach January in a certain way, that will dictate how summer goes, how the end of the year goes, and how the next January goes. So for me personally, it's really weird, but I didn't experience too many summer drop-offs. Yeah. In fact, I've experienced more as an online coach than I have as a personal trainer, which is weird. And your experience might be a little bit different to that. So it's going to be interesting. What's your experience with?
Did you not have any? Like even, or did you have very low amounts even from the start of your journey?
Yeah, so I won't say I didn't have any summer drop-offs. Like, I don't remember the exact numbers, but it wasn't enough for me to panic, because I know a lot of personal trainers at the moment, they'll be panicking. It's like Jane's dropped off, Paul's dropped off, Steve's dropped off, and it's like 3 in a week, and that's a big chunk of your income. I never experienced that per se. Like, I did have a couple, and it was more so people going on holidays rather than dropping off. So it was like pause, come back, rather than I'm going to drop off for the whole summer. So like the pause might be a week or two, and then they come in, and that would happen systematically with clients. So like not everyone would go on holiday the same week. It would be like maybe 1 or 2 this week, 1 or 2 the next week. So if we're counting holidays as drop-offs, then I had a few more. But if we're speaking about drop-offs as like, see you later, it's summer, I'm gone, pick back up in winter, that didn't really happen. What's your experience? Did you experience something different? Or
yeah, I think very similar in terms of, I never had people just like fuck off and say goodbye, kind of thing. But definitely, people would go away for holiday. So I had, when I was working in Singapore as well, I had a lot of clients who they wouldn't stay around in Singapore for like the whole summer, right? They'd literally just go away for the whole summer. So it's like, okay, you're in another country, of course, you're going to have a drop off, but they're still on the roster. They're still here to come back. And I think, that's probably the distinguish that we want to make is, are people actually dropping off completely in the sense of, they're completely off your roster and they're never going to return? Or are they just, away for the holiday, or they're using that as an excuse?
So when people are away for the holidays, did you have them still paying like a retainer, or was it just like, we stopped in July, we'll resume in September? Because I know some coaches have like it's a flat rate all year round, and that kind of takes care of the summer holidays or summer drop-off. So like some months of the year, you might be delivering more sessions and not getting paid for them. But when someone's a little bit quieter or to go away, your income is still maintained because you've kind of offset that with the busier times. Do you ever do that or anything like that?
I think because when I was working for somebody as part of a studio, as a company, right? When you don't do the hours, you don't get paid, right? But for me, it was always, I still want to get these people results. So although they would go away for the summer, I'd say, okay, look, you're going away. Here's your training program that I want you to follow whilst you're away. If you have a gym, then this is a gym-based program. If you don't have a gym, then here's like a bodyweight program. This is what I want you to do. This is kind of what I want you to do in terms of nutrition. So then it's like, I'm still thinking about you, even though you are not going to be training with you. Like, our session doesn't start and end just with you being here with me, right? It's like, okay, you're away, but there's still things that we work on. And I think maybe that's what separates some of it, in the sense that if you do see the session as a bit of a transaction, whereby, you're coming in and this is the value that you're getting, but you don't get any value outside, maybe that's why you do get that drop off, right? So for me, that was a big part of it. It was, everything was always results focused. It was, okay, you're not done yet. Like, you still, yes, you're going away, and you won't be able to see me. But, you know, this goal that you want is still concurrent, to still keep going, right? So we got to figure out how, you know, we're going to make this work. And basically enable you so that you don't come back like, you know, the same weight that you started, right? And that was the main thing, because I knew if they come back, or when they come back, it's going to be a big struggle to get them back to where they were. And then they're going to go off again because it's going to be Christmas.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know?
And I think as PTs, we have to understand that our clients aren't going to be robots for the whole year. And you said something that was really key there. And it's something I must have been taught it. I didn't come up with it myself, but it was, we're not selling the session, we're selling the result, which means two things. It means that we take care of our clients outside the session, but it also means we charge appropriately to make sure our time outside the session is fairly compensated. And that's why when some coaches say, I charge X amount an hour, and it's quite a lot, we're not charging for the hour. And if your clients give you pushback on that, I'm not charging you for the hour. You came to me to go to a show, to lose some weight, to do this deadlift, whatever it may be. If you've come to me for that, and I'm going to deliver that, it's more than 60 minutes 3 times a week. It's going to take a whole lifestyle overhaul, and that's what you're paying for. So I think one of the key things you said there is like not charging for the session, charging for the outcome. And if you're charging for the outcome and your client knows that, even when they are away, they're still going to be maintaining or making progress towards whatever their overall goal is. And just when you were speaking, it made me think, like, how long ago was that you were speaking about? So like your clients would go away. How long ago was that?
As in how long before
Many
they
years.
would?
No, many years ago. Like, so when was this?
This was at least 10 years ago. Man.
There we go. Because when, like, initially when I was prepping for this podcast, I was the same as you. I was like thinking back to my experience, and it was a long time ago. And it's like the world has changed, some good ways, some not so good ways. But like now we've got hybrid coaching. So I think it's very easy when a client goes on holiday, like let's say now, if your clients were in Singapore and they were going away for the summer, I'm probably going to bet that you'd be like, okay, you're going for a month, let's just switch to online. And you'd have them set up for online like near enough straight away, because the technology is now there, the systems are now there. Whereas a good few years ago, we didn't really have access to that. It was still pen and paper and all like PDFs and that. So I think
let's do it online for free.
Literally, like, yeah, just come on, help, yeah. So I think like literally like the important thing for me is how you frame it, because people going away doesn't need to be the barrier that it once was, with how you price yourself, how you charge, how you structure your training, and then also how you just utilize the tools that you have at your disposal. Again, like online coaching. If you're going away for a week, perfectly fine. I'll see when you get back, Fred. Gone away for a month, cool. Let's get you set up on Zoom, or let's get you whatever it may be, and we'll at least have check-ins and touch points, because again, you're not charging me for the session, you're charging me for the overall result.
Yeah, I think it's a good way to kind of almost suss out your client as well, right? Like see where their head's at, because some people, they generally use the summertime as maybe as an excuse to leave you. So perhaps they have already been, you know, on the brink of saying, you know what, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe their results hasn't been that good, or maybe they've just not been overall that consistent. Maybe they've not been using the coaching, and they're not necessarily getting that same value from it, right? So at any moment, you know, whether it's Christmas, whether it's summer, whether it's like, you know, birthday, whatever, they're kind of ready to leave, right? And that's when you start to give people an option, that's when you can start to suss out, you know, does this person, are they actually struggling in terms of maybe from a value standpoint, maybe from a transformation standpoint? Because if you're offering and giving them different options and they potentially don't want to go for that, it could be a sign that maybe you've done something, you know, in the lead up that isn't necessarily, they're not necessarily using it, right? So I don't know if you've ever, you know, kind of come across that or ever seen even that.
I've come full circle, and it's like, it links into what you're saying slightly, like people using summer to fall off. And when I say I come full circle, it's you don't want it enough. So like, I used to think PTs would use my clients don't want it enough as a cop out for the PTs not being good enough. Like, I've got no results because none of my clients want it enough. They're all shit. They all don't know what they're doing. And I'm like, yeah, you just copied out. You're a shit PT. But then I'm now full circle with some clients actually don't want it enough because you have to make sacrifice to get change. And it's like, yes, you can go and take the summer off, but when you come back 3 kilos or 4 or 5, however many kilos overweight in the winter, we've got it all to do again. And it's like, actually, you must want it. You need to want it because as personal trainers, we can't do it ourselves. And the caveat to that is we have to make sure we've done to the best of our ability what we said we're going to do. So accountability. If someone's struggling, add a couple more touch points. And then if someone agrees to, I'm going to not go out this weekend and drink, but then they go out and drink this weekend, that's when it's like, do you want it enough? Oh yeah, but it's the summer. Yeah, but you're not happy about how you look. It's like there's a fine line between wanting it enough and using the summer as oh yeah, I'm going to let my hair down. And that's links into why people potentially drop off as well. Because if they know that they're going to let their hair down in the summer, it's like, why am I going to bother pay for a PT if I'm going to get fat anyway? I don't need to pay for a PT.
I can get fat on my own.
Exactly, yeah, literally I can do that by myself. I'll see you in September when I'm fat and yeah, I'm not happy again. But again, like, if that's happened to us as PTs or you guys as PTs, and you know that's going to happen, well, you can start to frame that in April, May, June. And it's like, let's get you in shape for the summer, but let's make sure you don't like get fat straight away and you can't take your top off in August still. And it's like, that's when it comes into, do you really want it? And how do we make sure our clients really want it kind of thing? And I use my own example because I've recently done a photo shoot and it was like, oh, okay. I actually really wanted it because it was the previous time I done a photo shoot was in winter. So, you know, the whole, build my bodies are built in winter, then we show them in the summer kind of thing. It's easy. It's cold. No one doesn't want to go out anyway. So it's like in the winter, I was fine. And I've done this one in the summer where everyone started being social and I had to start saying no. And that's when I've come full circle with, do you really want it? Because I had to shift my mindset and say, actually, I did really want it. And I'm not saying everyone has to go for photo shoots or to be like saying no to everything, but it's like you have to show a level of you want it. But then as coaches, we have to give and take. We have to say, okay, then you really want it, but under what terms? Go out once a week. Right? Do you know what I mean? And that way, clients will be like, actually, yeah, I can stay with you over summer because you'll help me rein it in a little bit. So that's kind of my thought process on that.
I'll do whatever it takes, except from
except for diet, except for train, except for
do
any cardio.
Was that the first time that you had to say, that many no's? Yeah,
and I think I'm not even sure why, like, because I'm very antisocial anyway, so people don't really ask me to go places. So I had loads of events, and it was interesting because some events I did say yes.
You had a wedding, right? I think,
no, it was like a christening. So I had a christening. Okay. I had a couple of brunches that were like linked to christenings, and then the basically things that I couldn't really say no to. So like normally my default's no, but you know when you get it's family and you get peer pressured. So there's a couple of things that I couldn't say no to. And I went, and that was when the test of do you really want it is. Like there was one example where I pre-ordered like from December. So it was a big event. We had to order our meals from December. I don't know why. Ordered this event. I've ordered 3 courses. So I've ordered my starter, my main and my dessert. I didn't know I was going to be dieting 6 months later. So it's come round to it and I've got already paid for starter, the main and the dessert. And it was like, desserts come out, I've had to, do you want this? And just give it to the person next to me. And it was so easy, it would have been so easy for me to be like, yeah, I'll just have it, I'll fix it Monday. But it was like, no, I've got a fucking photo shoot. Like I need to lock in. I've got all these people watching me, relying on me, etc. Like I need to not piss it up basically. And I think that was one of the times where my mindset really shifted. Actually, people need to want it enough. Like as coaches, a lot of times we'll struggle to have the hard conversations in the lead up to summer, during summer and after summer, which is potentially why we get drop-offs. You mentioned it earlier, like client's not getting results, of course they're going to use the first possible opportunity to say, see you later. If your client's getting results in May, they're probably going to still want to work with you through the summer because they're getting results. It's like, but that comes from having the difficult conversations when we need to. And for me, going through the process around summer has taught me, maybe not so much this year, but for future occasions, it's like, okay, I can pull you up on this now because I've just done that. Like, I'm not scared to pull you up on that because I've literally just lived it. So, yeah. What's your experiences of, have you dieted through summer? I'm going to assume you have.
I'll diet through the whole year.
Yeah.
I think some of my last bodybuilding prep, I dieted for 43 weeks before my show. So that literally went through, I started in December, so I dieted through Christmas, Chinese New Year, which is February time. We've got 2 New Years. We've got Christmas, and we've got New Year's, and then we've got Chinese New Year's. And then, birthdays, things like that.
So how did you find the summer? And did you find as well, so like in relation to summer drop-offs, did you find yourself going through the process in summer had any influence on your client retention during the summer? I.e., like, did they see you working hard through the summer and think, actually, if coach can do it, I can do it? Or do you not notice anything at all?
I think because I've never really been a seasonal person. Yeah. Like, in terms of, I never felt like, oh, I need to do this at this time because the weather is like this. Yeah. You know, I've always been like, which maybe is not normal. Maybe I think the majority of the population do things, in the summer.
PTs aren't normal.
Yeah, that's it, right? But for me, I'm always like, look, this is, if I want to go, it doesn't matter like when that is. I'm going to take action on that, right? We could, let's take this podcast, for example, right? We could say, oh, let's start in January because it's awesome, right? Or let's start after the summer. But we're just like, look, this is the plan. This is when we're going to do it. And then 4 weeks from now, we're going to start doing it, right? And it's just about taking action. I think for me, it's always been that way. I've never thought of, I need to do this during a certain time or whatever. It's like, if I have set out my goal to try to achieve something, then I'm going to start doing that immediately. And, if it falls within those dates, I need to figure out a way to kind of work around those kind of things, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And I think if you start to think like that as a coach, your clients probably, I not even realize it, but probably they see those things and they recognize that and they say, oh shit, this guy's, the fuck, he's dieting through Christmas. How many people do you actually see dieting like through Christmas?
I did, and it was not nice. Yeah. I did once. So that's what I mean. I've dieted through Christmas once and I've dieted through summer once now, and I'm probably never going to diet again. So it's not, you don't get many. And I think as well, like you don't get many. And again, it's like not many people need to, but as a coach, I wanted to, for the exact reason as what you just mentioned. Like, I wanted my clients and people around me to see me going through extra hardship, by choice, of course, because it gives me a platform to then say, hang on, why aren't you doing this? And like, it gives me a story to tell now. Like, I dieted through Christmas, I dieted through my birthday, through summer, etc. Like, it's what, as a coach, makes us, and it's what gives us the ability to speak to our clients in a certain way. Obviously not being rude, but like saying to them, hang on, come on, mate, I know it's hard, I've been there. Do you know what I mean? So
Did you find it difficult?
Yeah, I did. So I didn't, when I say diet through Christmas, I didn't have chicken and broccoli on Christmas Day. Like, I did have, like, Christmas Day was off plan, but then the day, like, so, and exactly, like, it showed me moderation, whatever that is. Mm-hmm. And it showed me that, like, Christmas Day was, I had my food as normal. I had a dessert. I didn't have the whole chocolate box, which I probably normally would have. The day after, I didn't have all the leftovers, which I probably normally would have. The day after that, I didn't have all the leftovers and order a pizza, which I probably normally would have. It was like, I had Christmas, I had Boxing Day, then I was back in, and I think I trained on Boxing Day, and then, because I wanted to as well, not because I needed to, and then I was back on plan as normal. And for me, like, it taught me, like, because we all learn the science, but the science isn't practical. And it was like, okay, then if I want to navigate Christmas, how do I navigate Christmas? Well, I don't have to be a robot, because I still want to eat the same as what everyone else is eating. I still want to enjoy Christmas, enjoy food, enjoy people, enjoy company. So I can do it my way. And it's exactly the same in summer. So, like, I went to the events. I said no to some of them. So if I did say no when you're watching this, sorry. I said no to some of them. And for the others, I was like, okay, I'll do it my way. And sometimes that meant eating what everyone else was eating. And sometimes that meant bringing my own food, and sometimes that meant making some other accommodation that linked into what I wanted to do, which was be with people, and then also where I wanted to be, which was in absolutely insane shape. So it's kind of both fingers. But again, get a coach if you haven't done that first. Get a coach, because I had a coach as well, and you've had coaches. Like, even though we're coaches, we have coaches, because when it gets difficult, we need to understand what it's like to be a client. Like, if your clients are dropping off through summer and you've got a coach, and then you're sacking your coach the second you get panicky, it's, of course, your clients are going to follow your lead. Like, it's the same, shit rolls downhill kind of thing. So, like, if you're going to get a coach with them through the times that you're going to ask your clients to coach with you through. So, like, for me, it was dieting, photo shoot prep. I can do it myself. I know the science, but I'm going to get a coach. Just like I ask people that are going to invest in me, oh, you need a coach. Why? Because it's accountability. It's this, it's that.
You didn't start off with a coach though for your prep, right? I think you kind of like swung it the other way.
Yeah,
like,
so I winged it a little bit. I done the first. I think I dieted for 7 months, so from January till July, which I'll never do again. You done a 40. You done even longer. Yeah. Crazy. Crazy. So I started by myself.
What made you kind of flip? Was it just like you just felt like it was getting really difficult to make certain decisions around yourself in terms of whether you should pull calories, whether you should do X, Y, Z, or was it just literally accountability?
It was always a plan to. So in my head, when I started, I was like, I can do because the first, I think I lost 15 kilos overall. The first 7 was literally just, I've got a sweet tooth, so it was just pulling out sweet stuff. And I dropped like 7 kilos without changing too much. Obviously, I watched what I eat. Obviously,
stop stealing your
yes, yeah, exactly. So like, but like, I didn't need to do too much. And then I got to the point where I was like, okay, then if I want to go any further, I'm gonna have to dial it in. And I don't want to plan, because like up until the first 7 kilos, I wasn't following a food plan. I was just eating the same food, just smaller portions, making sure my protein's high. When it got to the point where I was like, I need to dial it in now, I was like, okay, I don't want to do this myself because it's going to be too time consuming. Accountability. I want someone to just take care of everything else so I can do what I need to do for my clients. And that's when I reached out to my coach. So like, for me, it was always part of the plan to start myself, ease into it. And then when it gets difficult, just let someone else take care of it.
I'm very tempted to do my next contest prep like by myself, just mainly because I want to try and see what, prepping and, try different things, because sometimes when you go with a coach, you do have to, you kind of follow what they tell you to do, right? So whether it's peak weeks and things like that. And there's certain things now, like I've learned so much. So I was like, they always say like, your body the best, right? For bodybuilding. And there is an element of me that's like, I want to try. Yeah. But then at the same time, it's like, when shit gets tough, do I have it in me to make the right decision that's not like biased or emotional within that moment? Because if you've dieted for long enough, right, you'll know, like, I don't know if you had this, but I'll look at myself in the morning and I'll be like, oh yeah, I look good. And I'll like literally 2 hours later, I'll look at myself again and I'll be like, I look shit.
100%. And it told me it was the right decision to get a coach. Because exactly that, I was like, I'm not lean enough. I was fucking lean. And I was like,
I'll pull my calories.
Yeah, I can't go any lower with food. I had this conversation with coach. My food's now lower. And I was like, how did that? I was like, I'm adamant. At the start, I got to check in with coach today. I'm adamant he's not taking my food from me. And if he's watching this, you'll know this. Adamant, you're not touching my food. Hours later, I'm 150 calories less. And again, like, if it was for myself, I wouldn't have taken myself there. Because there's always that barrier, like dieting is literally starving yourself, like essentially starving yourself and trying to maintain. No sane normal person would willingly want to put themselves into too much of a deficit. And that's where the battle comes, because rationally what you should do or what you need to do to get to that level, but irrationally you're like, I'm fucking hungry. So it'll be interesting for you. And like, from my experience just then, I was like, yeah, I probably wouldn't have gone as into the hole as I did, because I'd have been like, nah, I'm happy with where I am now, even though there was still a little bit left on the table kind of thing.
I mean, you can tell backstage straight away. Like, I was at bodybuilding competition like 2 weeks ago. And you can tell backstage, like, people just like, oh, yeah, I'm flat. Yeah. I'm flat. I need to eat. It's like, of course you think you're flat. fucking hungry,
Yeah.
and you just want to eat food.
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
And flat is just an excuse for like being like, hey, I just want to eat some food.
Yeah, it's based saying I need a refeed.
Yeah. Oh, I need a refeed. Shit, man. That is like one of the things that people say the most when they're dieting. It's like, oh, I need a refeed. It's like, do you really actually need a refeed?
Nope.
Or do you just want to eat food? Is that just the hunger side of your brain going, yeah, I need to eat, but I think it's a big part of it.
So just tell me quickly, and before we start to wrap up, it's summer, you're coaching me or mentoring me. What would you do, or what advice would you give me if I said to you, I've got a couple of drop-offs this summer, what do I do, coach? Like, what advice would you give me?
I think the big thing here is to use your time wisely. I think that's one of the things that I did when, you have down periods in terms of coaching, is you don't always get these down periods, right? There is going to be periods where, let's say January comes, right? And all of a sudden you're so busy that you don't have any time to do anything, right? You're in the gym floor all the time. Maybe you're doing loads of check-ins and you're just super, super busy. And you don't have any time for self-development, right? But the whole point of being a personal trainer is like, you want to leave some space, leave some time to develop your skills as a coach to become better, right? If you don't have the time, if you're in the business all the time, it's difficult for you to improve your craft. And actually, when people drop off, you could see that as a win and look at it as, hey, I've got loads of time now. Let me see what I can do. Maybe that is a time for you to find a coach, where everyone's dropping off. You look for someone and go, okay, this person can teach me, and I can actually spend some time maybe on your own physique, or you spend some time to educate yourself, to learn something new, whether that's exercise mechanics, whether that's nutrition or something, right? Use that time wisely, because that's something that you can never get back. You go into the year, it's too late by the time you're busy in January going, oh shit, my client's got this problem, I can't help him out, I need to figure out that's too late. You're so busy that you barely have time to fit all your clients in on your day, let alone to now research and try to figure out the solution to this. And in the summer, when you got free time, man, use that time wisely and spend that time improving your craft, so that when you do get busy, you know what to do, and people can see that as well, right? So when we were talking about motivating our own clients, when you're on the gym floor, if you're still posting on socials, right? Typical, people drop off in the summer, they stop training clients, they stop doing everything, right? So still post your stuff as you would if you're not going away on holiday. So then your clients can see, oh shit, this guy's still doing what he needs to do. He's still educating himself. He's still putting out really good content. And when the time is right for maybe that client, who are they going to look towards? Right? They're going to look towards, this guy's been pushing himself. He's been working hard in the summer. He's the person I want to be. Or are they going to go to the coach that's also, with the Ibiza final boss?
That's a topical meme. If you haven't seen it, if you're watching this in the winter, you're probably a bit too late for that one. And I would completely second that. And I think the only thing that I would add is that we need to take ourselves seriously as a business, because as you just said, there might be times in the year where you're a little bit busier, and there might be times when you're a little bit quieter. Now, if you treat yourself as a business, you won't just, in January, you get a 7K month and you go and buy a new BMW, put a deposit down, or you go and book you some holidays from then. You'll actually say, okay, then this is my money for now, but in the summer, when it's a little bit quieter, I'll put some away for then. So my earnings aren't really too much impacted. And that gives me the freedom, the time, and also the finances to be able to invest, because it's okay, like we're saying, oh yeah, invest in yourself in the summer when it's quiet. But when it's quiet, we might be thinking, hang on, how am I going to pay the bills? It's like, we need to start, and a lot of personal trainers, like, take yourself seriously as a business, because if you do that, like most companies that are surviving, not the ones that go under, but most companies that are surviving, they won't have one good quarter and then go and give everyone a bonus. They'll have one good quarter and reinvest that into the next quarter when they know it's going to be quiet. So if we do that as PTs, then when it's quiet, we can have the time and the bandwidth, like the brain space, because if we're worrying about money and where the next client's coming in, we're not going to be fully invested in coaching, mentoring, getting our own physique in place. Whereas if we're like, okay, I've got this nest egg that I know I can dip into now when it's a little bit quieter, and then when it picks back up after summer, I'm okay then, but I can still have the freedom, time and space to feel comfortable investing in myself, whatever that may be. So yeah, completely agree about the investing stuff, but also just make sure you budget for that from early enough so it doesn't really impact you too much if you have a couple of drop-offs.
Yeah, PTs are horrible for that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like just managing the funds and the finances, right? I think it's like, it's one of those like drug dealer things where, it's easy money, right? So they say easy money, but sometimes you get this large influx of money and then you're like, shit, I'm balling. Boom. Yeah. And then there's other times like, Christmas where you're like, oh shit, you got to live like this skint life. And yeah, you got to know that there is, like you said, there is going to be times where you get this huge influx of money, but all of that shit, it kind of averages out. You're not making, yes, you made 10 grand this month or whatever, right? But you ain't making 10 grand every single month. And if you are, fucking sick, man.
See you in Dubai.
Yeah, good for you, bro. You know what I mean? Tax man's on you. But yeah, I think a lot of times, you make that money and you think, I'm making this money all the time. Like, and then you start calculating, like, I'm 120 grand earner, per year. But really, it's like, nah, you're still an 80 grand or 70 grand person. It's just you earned more in January than you did, in maybe December. So what would you say as our key takeaways and our wrap up for this episode?
Yeah, so key takeaways is that, first of all, if you are experiencing summer drop-offs, you're not alone. Like, everyone experiences some kind of downturn in the summer, whether that be a client completely dropping off and leaving, or whether that be clients going on holiday. Either way, it means that your income is going to be impacted. So don't feel like you're alone if that happens to you. But at the same time, make sure you're prepared for that as well. So things like budgeting, things like financing, as you said, things like making sure you stick to your routine regardless. If you're going to be posting on social media, post. If you're going to be in the gym as normal, you might pick some new clients up, which happened to me normally. Like when I get drop-offs, I'm not at home sulking, I'm in the gym. And there's going to be the people that are in the gym obviously are on holiday. You'll likely pick some new clients up then as well. So I think just keep doing the things you're doing. Like, people speak about consistency, and it's okay when we speak about it, but when it actually comes to being consistent, a lot of personal trainers are fickle. So if you can be consistent, that will help you a long part of the way. So would you add anything to that?
I think, use that time wisely. Like you said, there's always going to be people that can't make that time, but there's also always going to be people that also can make that time. There's other businesses that are also very similar to personal training where maybe they get also drop-offs in the summer and they've got more time now. Whereas, in certain periods, they're like, look, I'm really busy and I don't have time to train. Maybe these are the people that now, all of a sudden, everyone's gone away. They have time to now train. So you can pick up a different type of clientele, at different periods of times as well. So it's not all lost. Maybe there's a slightly less of those people around, but keep putting in the work, because it's at the same time that work is an investment for you, right? The business, no one's business stops. Just because you have summer downtimes or whatever, no one just goes, oh, I'm closing up, unless you're doing IB for holidays, right? People are like, I'm not saying no IB for packages in December or something.
I wonder where the final boss is going to be in December.
Oh yeah, that's true.
He'll probably still be there, won't he?
You think?
Shivering his tits off. Yeah.
You'll be the starting boss.
Winner boss.
That's it. All right. So thank you all for listening to our first episode. You can find me on Instagram at Gym With Him, and my co-host is at Jawade Graham Coach.
There we go. Yeah.
There we go. If you have any questions, any topics, or anything that you want to reply to, even if you want to say that we're shit, just drop us a message on Instagram. And we'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.